Hey guys, this is the second half of the episode with Marty Mcfly here today on Unboxed Creativity. So let's jump right back into it.
What would you say about being a sound person?
You gotta let audio choose you.
That's all I hear from successful stories. That's literally how it is. You believe in it and you follow it and it works. It's just hard to actually believe in
Sound is more important than movies, even though you watch the movie.
Like, cool, yeah, I can do field audio. Yeah, I can do post. Yeah, we can do live concerts and events. But can you mix for a stage and a giant crowd and like get them hyped up? Now that I would love to experience.
I want to touch on something because it caught my attention since we ever talked through the phone. That is your personal branding. I think it's genius the way you market yourself. The little sound guy is so funny. But like when do you start thinking, okay, now this is my career. I'm a sound guy. I'm gonna invest in this. How's your reach out normally? And how do you market yourself to be like, yeah, I'm like that person that can do that work.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
I'm that guy.
Mcfly, the sound guy.
Fake it till you make it. Honestly, though, like
I say that all the time. They make fun of me. I say that all the time.
We're still faking everything. I never press.
Those aren't even my cameras. I don't know who. I just found them on the street.
What's filmmaking?
So for marketing, just try to be loud, proud, but also coachable. Like, be humble enough to know that you are learning. And again, I've only done this for like 5 years, which seems a lot to someone who's just starting, but also seems like nothing to someone who's been doing this for 30 years. So It just depends on who you talk to and everything. But really just going all in, like choosing that profession and just doubling down. And it's worked out for me. It might not always work out for anybody, but it just falls on you to find that thing to really hone in on. Like, I love this thing. I'm not going to give up on it.
I think if you choose it, if you really find it and you choose it and you just go down that path, I think it always works. That's all I hear from successful stories. That's literally how it is. You believe in it and you follow it and it works. It's just hard to actually believe in
I think that's like 1/3 of the battle. It's like just getting yourself to be like, okay, this is something that I'm dedicated in. Just because I think with whatever career, you're gonna have to go through small little things that aren't what you thought of. Like as a DP, I have to do a lot of outreaching and talking to people or doing contracts or doing invoicing and paperwork. I don't like doing any of that. Right. But I'm open to doing it because it's part of my DP journey. It's part of me being a cinematographer. And if you're passionate about it, you're gonna do it. If you're not passionate, like when you go to school in high school, if you're not passionate, you're just there learning about random history you don't care about. But if you want to be a history person, all this stuff will just stick.
Yeah.
And it's also how you market yourself. You like from your image that I haven't worked with you before. I wasn't among the shadows. I didn't know anything about you. I mean, I felt like it's so colorful. It like just resembles your own, vibe and the same. Yeah, that's your personality. It's just very authentic. That's what I mean. And I feel like that's super important to kind of push the things you do. Because let's be serious. How many people do what we do? A lot. So it's like, yeah, you mentioned how important it is to be not only hard work, but also, a person that is manageable to work with other groups. But also to, just keep your personality there. You bring your stuff, you have your Nintendo Switch, he pulls all this stuff and he's always smiling. So I feel like that's so cool.
His logo has the Fallout character in your image.
Shout out to my friend Natalia, who actually designed it for me. This was back in 2020, like right before shit hit the fan. This was someone I also met at Valencia. She was like an art person. And she was like, I've got an idea for your logo. And I was like, no freaking way. And she showed me that sketch of the guy with the boot, and I was like, that is amazing. That's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, that's really good.
Let's put that here in the video so we can see.
Yeah, you gotta send me
I'll send you
an email, yeah.
Put it on my face.
I also love how his business card is, because I feel like it's like, I don't know if you planned on this, but it's like thin, so it looks like gum. So he just goes up to you and gives it to you. I'm like, gum! And I'm like, ah.
That's cool. I want to see that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
No, I think you got a real good deal going with your skills, with your good vibes, and with your image. I'm pretty sure you're gonna, someday have your little sound school.
That's
But
awesome.
I see it as.
Jedi Master.
He's getting
And I
emotional.
love
He's getting
that.
emotional. Let's keep going.
You show up to a set. Let's say it's an interview. Guy comes in DP, 3-point lighting, interviewing. Let's say 3 people. How would you set it up? What type of equipment would you bring, and how would you set up that scenario?
Sure. Okay. So for something like that, for an interview, they're very simple. And interviews tend to be my bread and butter, especially here in Florida. We don't have like a lot of features and narratives that come through here. So they tend to be more interviews or like commercials. So for interviews, super simple. I would have a boom buddy set up. Always get a boom and lav if I can. The only time I would only have a boom and not a lav is if we're doing really quick back-to-back interviews. Because I said redundancy is always important and like get it. But there are slight exceptions where you can bend the rules. We're like, okay, we are okay with boom only. If we have a good, clean, proper setup, we have a good gain staging, we should have nothing to worry about. As long as someone's not just like smacking the boom around, we should be all right, But yeah, I would get a boom buddy set up, a C-stand. I have my own C-stand now, thankfully. I would bring my mixer, probably my cart, just so I can wheel that in nice and easy. I also have like a little thing. I have an Orca cart, which I call the fridge. It's like the size of literally a mini fridge. I think you saw that on like the first interview.
Yeah,
I did.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Interviews tend to be smaller setups, so I would bring something like that, so it's nice and mobile, and I can bring it around. Because you also have to consider what kind of environment you're working in. You don't want to bring all your biggest, bulkiest gear to go down tiny hallways, and shoot in a tiny room. Do I really need all this gear? No, I'm gonna need booms, lavs, batteries, my mixer, and something to work on top of. And the way I have my gear organized, organization is so important. I have all my gear, all of my not expensive, don't rob me. All of my cheapest, nastiest shit stays in one crate, and all that lives together. So that's my lavs, my wireless boom, wires, cables, like all of that stays in here. Time code, RF scanner, stays in one. Comtex, all these things that are super essential that maybe is not always needed for every job, but it's happened more than once where it's like, hey, do you have a Comtech? Yes, I do. Here's a $25 upcharge per day. Thank you so much. Having those things prepped, because then you can upsell them if they need it. And so learned it the hard way, but now I always bring it nice and compact. And even just recently, I changed all my expendables, all the little tapes and just small things you use to put mics on people. I bought a fishing kit, so I have a whole toolbox that folds out and that just carries everything I need, plus a nice sized bucket on the bottom for like bigger things, because like I said, you want to have a small footprint to be ready for any situation. Back to the interview setups, I wouldn't necessarily need all of that, but I'm definitely gonna bring spare tapes just in case. Moleskin to like make the little sandwiches and help mitigate this noise. I love whenever I get to clip a mic outside of people's clothes, especially for interviews. Side tangent, I don't know why people have so many issues having mics exposed, especially for interviews. I think it's fine. I think it is totally acceptable and accepted by audiences. If a person's on screen and they're sitting clearly talking to an interviewer, seeing a mic on them is fine. Like I don't see that. I'm like, oh my god, like I lose my mind. Like no, like you see it on the news, on sports all the time.
Yeah, it's not a narrative. It's
not a narrative.
it's an interview.
But if the client wants it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I always try to like let them know ahead of time. It is best if we can just have the mic exposed because now we don't have to worry about
the
this.
friction. Yeah.
I don't have to worry about coming in and changing tape or whatever. It's just gonna be clean and nice.
Yeah, no, you're right. They always push the hidden mics. Always.
They usually do.
It's funny how you said that and we both went like this.
I'm trying to hide it.
No, to check if it was. I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I was like, where's my... Okay.
I think you have to make that decision creatively, though. I think that's up to mostly the director, to be honest. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, if there's a client, it is the client that's going to make that decision. But it's at the end of the day up to the director to say, yeah, let's have that in. And even like when it comes to like lighting as well, Netflix I think started to do that more with documentaries where you just see part of like a C-stand on a shot and then part of like a light. As long as that's accepted and like you made that decision and established and like the whole time you're gonna show that, it's fine. Now it's completely different if you're showing a little bit of a C-stand and you have this side of the microphone popping out. That's like a whole different thing, right?
Because then it looks like a mistake.
Exactly, a mistake versus something you established.
Yeah.
No, yes. So having a boom, having a clean log, whether it's just taping under them, having it ready for different kinds of fabrics. Like I mentioned, moleskin sandwiches. We also have these foamies. We have all these like little things and doodads and tricks to get people walked up. And then finally, it's deciding whether or not do we want to feed audio to camera? Do I want to send you a wireless hop? Do we even need it? Do we want time code? Typically, if we can get time code, I'll give it to you because like that is now part of the essential kit. I used to see it as optional. It kind of is, kind of isn't. But I always like to get that in because it takes me 10 seconds. As long as camera's ready, I just jam my sync box into my mixer and then I can just plug it to your camera and then set and forget it. And now editor does not have to worry about, oh, which one matches up, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the hardware technical side, right? And then the software technical side is making sure your levels are good. Is this person soft-spoken? Are they very loud? You have to ask them these questions. And it's like weird because like, hey, are you a loud person? You have to find ways to creatively talk and like get to know these people that you're about to mic.
I always do this. I learned this from this guy. He's a filmmaker in Nashville, and he would mic someone up and then just start randomly talking.
Yeah.
And the person would just start. He would be like, "So what'd you have for breakfast?" And just ask a bunch of random questions and get them like excited to like what you would assume they would talk to. And then while they're talking, they're just like setting up the audio levels, and you're like, "Okay, we're good to record."
Exactly. Get them talking.
That's kind of like a psychopath.
Sometimes you don't even say like boom, you just press record and you just roll it into like natural questions. And then they do the whole interview and then they're like, wait, when are we starting? Like, we're done. Get out.
Right. So yeah, communicating, right? A lot of it is down communicating because we have to find out what's going to happen. Okay, so we can expose the mic for this client. So I don't have to worry about her dress, because there's not all materials the same. Silk dresses and dress shirts are so much louder than regular, cotton shirts. So once that's established, what frame rate are we shooting? 23.98? And it's happened once where the camera person rounded up. They just assumed. They said 24. I was like, okay, cool. 24. And then I checked his camera. I said 23.98.
Oh my God.
Like that. There is a difference. It's a small difference, but you will pay for it later.
Yeah, it will desync.
Yes.
Eventually, yeah.
So do not get those two things confused. It's really minute, some of these details sometimes,
Yeah.
So yeah, making sure that the client or the person about to lob we're in the right dynamics, we're placing the right thing. Are they comfortable? Like, is this pack, are they sitting on it? Or whatever, just little things like that. Really trying to make everyone as comfortable as possible. And also saving your gear too, because I'm going to jump from the interview a little bit, but if we were doing a narrative and there's an action scene, I want to know that. So I want to remove your mic and make sure you don't fall on it, because these are expensive ass equipment, and it's just down your butt crack, getting sweat on it and like getting ripped. And people don't care about your shit. Yeah. People do not give a shit about
Especially labs, they'll be like,
Yep.
Here.
Or they just walk off with it. Or producers with their context will leave it on the street for cars to run over it. Not speaking from personal experience, but like they literally do not care where they leave it. They're like, it's like
Not that it's ever happened to you.
no.
Didn't sound like it.
It's a big thing, yeah.
At the end of the day,
He's like, I still have the pieces here that I picked from that.
It gives you your live and your
Rest in
wireless
peace.
transmitter all crushed up. Thanks.
my hopes and dreams.
So in the case of like a action scene like that you're talking about on a narrative film, would you just do boom in that case?
Yeah, it's really tricky, right? Because it's like, how do you get the good, clear dialogue while they're fighting? And there's no one way to do it. I still wonder that myself whenever I watch a lot of movies. Like, how do they get that? It's like really clean. So it's like, was it lav or did they do ADR and just blended it really well? There's so many facets.
You should have seen me when we first started shooting movies. The audio was slightly fucked up. I was like, no, we're gonna do ADR. Everything was ADR.
Yeah. I mean, ADR is the Band-Aid fix for so many things, but it's just really expensive.
Yeah, and it takes time. Yeah, and then getting, especially when it's like a either low budget or free movie, getting people to take time out of their day to go and record a whole day's worth of audio is a lot.
Yes, ADR is definitely a luxury for like bigger budget things. I would love to play with like even trying ADR. I haven't really done it yet.
There's a couple of short films we did that they're literally that. The one we're going to the festival today. You're more than welcome to if you're free later. But it's going to be shown at 3:15. The last short film we did together called Roadside Assistance. So I directed that. He was a DP. She was the gaffer. A little bit of art director as well. And yeah, dude, like ADR, full on. Now for that set specifically, I think we only had in-camera audio, I'm pretty sure. We didn't even have like a sound person or anything like that. So it was fully ADR. I'm gonna tell you, it was harder on the post-production to not have at least some level, because even if you're gonna do ADR, I think it's important to have certain quality. But yeah, we didn't have any reference for that, so I think that my suggestion and what we learned is that even if you're gonna do ADR and you know that right off the bat, definitely have something. Even if it is like, okay, I don't have access to a sound person specifically on that day. I can't have someone holding a boom. I can't do that. At least a good shotgun mic, like a Video Mic Pro from Rode, like something like that, so that at least you have something to work with on the post-production. But we've done like ADR for a couple of our short films and it came out really good. So yeah, good enough that it's on a bunch of festivals and we're watching it in all the theaters. So it was good. But yeah, do you guys have more questions? Specific stuff?
So as you say you have 5 years of experience, what would you say for someone in your situation, let's say, but not even year one, but they're thinking of doing film, what would you say for someone to like, not entice, but like say the good things about audio? Because like a lot of people don't understand audio. They just want to be director, or even I see a lot of people just be camera guys, but sometimes like their passions don't really align fully with like the DP. They just want to do something else, but they don't understand the audio side. Like, what would you say about being a sound person?
Yeah, like why choose audio? You gotta let audio choose you, man. No, but like legit, because I didn't intend to pick it. I met the right people, and then it interested me. Like, oh, okay. What interested me about it was the fact that I saw it, but I never knew what it was about. I saw the boom mic guy, but I never knew anything else apart from that. And one of the biggest enticing things was the fact that it's such an overlooked department, yet so important. If you want to be busier and like known for something, especially if you're good at it, being good at audio is really nice, because lots of things need audio. Not everything, but many things, and not just film, right? So that alone piqued my interest. But even prior to meeting Will and Harrison, I had a class with one of my amazing professors named Jason Small, also at Valencia. He taught specifically location field audio, and getting our hands on with the gear really got me interested too, because working with this big mixer, all these cool buttons and lights, and then you can hear things that are farther away, and the patching and the routing, like it just naturally was interesting to me, and it made sense too. Because once you think of patching and routing as just ins and outs, and just like a, not a straight line, but a straightforward diagram, it just clicked. And knowing that alone got me really interested in it. And then the more I did it, the more I just grew to love it, because we're not making the scene pretty, the people are not watching my work. In fact, they're not supposed to see my work. But I love that we are ninjas. We are literally sound ninjas. We have to work with every department. I love that, like, I get to talk to the DP or the director or the talent or the wardrobes, PAs, like anybody. Like, I have to interact with every single department to get what I need. I need to know with lighting, am I going to be in the way if I stand here and cast a shadow? Camera guys, am I in frame? Where's my reference? Okay, sound mixer, like, how's my positioning? Am I on access? Props and wardrobe people, can I hide this mic behind this vase? Can you cut this hole for me in their dress so we can hide their mic here? All these.
Oh my God, I would kill you if you're on my set and you ask that. I'm like, oh my God, man, just get a boob. Cut a hole in the dress.
It takes. That's what it takes.
Yeah,
for
of course you have a
clean
reason
audio.
for asking it. It's just.
No, but it's like even as like a DP and like I've gone to like understand it's like, and I tell people it's like even when I bring people to like watch a movie with me, it's like sound is more important than movies. Even though you watch the movie, you can't watch a movie with bad sound. You can watch, a movie with bad visuals, if it's intentional, or even if it's bad visuals, you still watch it, you'll laugh. But if the audio is messed up, if there's a lot of noise, if there's a lot of interruptions, static, you just immediately just disconnect from the movie.
I would say sound is, in narrative filmmaking, the first thing you notice when, and sets apart what's a good film or a big budget film from a low budget or student film.
Yeah.
It's usually the
Legit.
first thing you find out because it's easier for you to get someone that owns a good camera. And a good camera today means a lot of things. It could be anything from literally, so we can go all the way into that. But then who really owns that audio equipment that you need? Who's going to really be able to do on-set sound or ADR? That's very rare to find.
I'm very picky with sound, to be honest. And all my projects, when I got started, putting together video, I would just do it silent. I don't fuck with this. I'm like, let me get the videos and stuff like that, and I'll put this music or just silent video until I was like, okay, now I know the tools. Let me add, and now I hire people like you that can take care of, the vision. But because I cannot stand. I actually saw a documentary that I was really excited to watch. Because it's like this guy who was a homeless, but now he's in Hollywood, dated Avril Lavigne, whatever. This guy made it somehow, and when I saw, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch this. The sound sucked so much.
There
that I
was this like
pissed.
Naf. Where was this?
It was, I watched it on YouTube,
Okay.
but it was like a couple years ago. And I was pissed. I was like, I can't believe it. He's a musician. There's Avril Lavigne in the freaking thing. And the tall guy, the rocker, Machine Gun.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Machine Gun Kelly is also in that thing. And I'm like, seriously? And you guys did not think about the sound?
That's crazy.
To me, that was crazy. And I'm like, I'm like, whoa. I couldn't believe it. But, it's definitely something important.
What is the number one complaint about Christopher Nolan films?
Yeah, when you go to a movie that isn't IMAX, the biggest ticket, it's hard to understand what people are saying.
Yeah, and for us watching it from there in Brazil, it's funny how that conversation got raised last time because I was in the pre-screening from Warner Bros. For that film. So I showed up to set. It's actually Universal, I think, because he has a thing with Warner, but it's actually Universal. But they're owned by the same person or same group. And it was raised, that topic was raised, and the thing is there we have the subtitles because the movie is in English and a lot of people are not going to understand it. And like 99% of the people on the screen wouldn't understand it. So therefore there, no one really raises that. So when someone was talking about that, we were having like a film meeting and all of that, I was like, yeah, that is a huge issue in English. Like in the US, everyone says Nolan films, dialogue is always lower than it should, and he should just raise that thing up so you can understand it. And whereas in other countries, it's not a problem with his films because you have the subtitles. But it is the main thing. His dialogue is always too low. And then the sound effects are through the roof.
Yeah.
It's two things with like what he says. It's like, okay, cool, you want to watch it in like the best quality possible. Of course. But then it's harder to share around when not everyone has access to it. And like I don't even think there's an actual like pure one here in Orlando. I think you have to drive to Miami to see like a full-on like theater that has all those features in it. There's IMAX here, but it's not like...
No, the 70 millimeter IMAX is in South Florida. You're right. That's just one. That has like the actual way that he shot it to be.
Yeah. But still, like when you watch those movies, I watched Oppenheimer on the one here in near Argonne, I think. Not Argonne, but the one on iDrive. It was IMAX. It wasn't, the best,
It's point, right? Point Orlando, yeah.
But yeah, like I still had that issue. But being in a theater with a huge screen, it's like, wow, like this is amazing.
Spectacle to it. Yeah, but it's like when you're at home and you're just trying to watch the film, you've taken away for me to enjoy that.
Yeah.
By having this, I'm sorry, it's stupid artistic vision.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say stupid because, like, look, your vision's your vision. Like, and you made that film happen. It's Christopher Nolan, obviously, right? But you removed something very, very important, and you made it inaccessible to a lot of people. And yeah, you could watch it with subtitles, but I don't know. Like, I don't know all the things that went into it, but I'm assuming the sound location mixer there knew what they were doing. I'm assuming the boom op knew what they were doing. And I feel like in this way, you are mitigating their work to raise your vision. And it just, at best, confuses people. Yeah. And at worst, it frustrates them,
Yeah.
So
I feel like the only way it would fit his vision and then fit, what everyone wants to hear is like make 2 audio versions of like, this is how it would fit for the IMAX 77 millimeter. Yeah. And then that's the experience you should watch it in. Right. But then like, you can't just copy that and paste it on regular movie theaters or even at home. Because then you just don't understand what's going on. You just don't hear the dialogue.
Because in IMAX, it wasn't that bad for me to understand what they were saying. And I when it's movies like that, I don't look at subtitles. I try as hard as I can not to look at it because you're missing out from the experience. You're just looking at the letters that are down there. And what about the atomic bomb exploding right
For me,
exactly.
I actually really like subtitles because like naturally, I don't even feel like I look at them. I just feel like my peripheral reads it. So like I just feel like I'm speaking the language. If it's like an anime, like they're speaking English in my brain. Yeah. Because my peripheral is just seeing language.
It happens naturally, yes. I agree with that, but I think right? But I think you're missing out from the vision.
The moment I'm cooking, then I'm like, I don't know what the heck's going on. What are they saying?
There's that issue. And also I think you end up losing from the visuals a little bit.
100%.
Right? If there's stuff going on the top of the frame, your eyes are like more centered and whatnot.
Yeah, it definitely takes away, yeah.
I have like a fun question at the end if you guys don't have anything else.
I have one more question.
He has a serious one. Look at his face.
Okay.
Saddest moment. A sound guy just finished, let's say, film school in whatever state. Once saved up a couple $1,000s to buy equipment. What would be? You can be specific with this. What would be equipment you would recommend for people to buy to start off as a sound person?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I recommend the same kit I started off with. Now, it's harder to get away with 2Gs now just because everything got so much more expensive. But I started off with the Sound Devices Mix Pre 3 that I think is the best balance of affordability and capability. Because even though I'm using the 10 now, the 3 still works as a great interface on my computer. So the cool thing about this equipment is that they've got longevity to it. It's not like a computer or a phone that'll be obsolete in 2 or 3 years.
Or even a camera in 5 years.
I mean, yeah, but depending on your lenses too. Right?
No, the lenses are way more important than the camera.
100%, yeah. So if you want to future-proof yourself, I would say spend a little bit more and get higher quality stuff. Because you could get a small H4n zoom or something, or the Handycam thing, whatever. But I would say spend a little bit more and future-proof yourself. Get a Sound Devices Mix Pre 3, a decent boom mic. It can be the Rode NTG2 is really good. A lot of people use that for beginners. And then I got the S-Mic DD, the DD S-Mic 2. That one's also a great alternative to the shotgun. Really, you're just trying to like replace all the big pieces that they use on big films, like the 416 Sennheiser shotgun. It's like $1,000. The MKH50 is like $1,500. A Scorpio mixer is like $8,000 to $10,000. But they do the same things just on a bigger scale. But do you really need a 10+ channel mixer when you're first starting? No, you need 3 channels at max, a boom and 2 lavs. You can get away with a lot. So you can start off with a cheaper shotgun mic, but not too cheap. So definitely like an NTG2, small Mix Pre 3. I start off with the Sennheiser G4s for my lavs because there's a great blend between like robustness and versatility. Yeah. But those kind of get phased out fast because those do get issues with RF static and interference at times. So if that's a profession that you want to keep doing, you'll just naturally see yourself what else you can add on and what you'll need. Because you can get so many projects done with just a two lavs, one boom setup. But then things will happen where it's like, hey, can you send me audio feed? Well, I can't really easily do that with the Mix Pre 3. It's possible, but we kind of have to like jury rig it and it won't sound that good. But if you upgrade to the next mixer, and then you have a little bit more capabilities. Or I'm getting too many RF hits. Let me invest now into a better wireless set. I'm going to pay a lot of money for it, but it keeps coming naturally with it. And I mean, the more you climb different gigs and higher paying stuff and different clients, the more you can offer them too. Like, excuse me, but like when you're first starting off with student films, as long as you've got a decent starting kit, you can get away with it and people will love you for that. But as you get more and more advanced, I admittedly used my friends' projects to practice learning my better gear. So it's like, cool, now I've got a Mix Pre 10. What can I do with this? Now I have time code. How do I use this? Let me find out on your project. And if I make a mistake, I'll let you know and we can like fix it or whatever. But to answer your question, Mix Pre 3, NTG2, Sennheisers, G3 or 4, if you can find them used, which you probably can, and you can do a lot with that.
And how much would you estimate that would run up to?
That's a good question.
20 grand.
So let's do the math. So.
I think you're looking between $2 to $3 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think around there.
That's a solid audio start setup. And I want to jump something on kind of what you said too, because I've had...
Let's just go on forever. Just kidding. I'm fucking with you. I'm good.
An audio and camera where it's just like they want to buy the most expensive. But I think when you buy the most expensive gear, you don't understand like the little hiccups you can get with less cheaper gear. That makes you learn. That makes you be creative and work around it, or then know what steps work. If you start, for example, like camera-wise, if you start off with a raw camera, you don't understand that if you use it's good to stay in the same color temperature. It's good to use a specific aperture. Don't go up an ISO or lower an ISO, because a bigger camera can compensate for that. But it's still gonna affect your footage if you don't know how to shoot it in the best possible way. Even though there's a lot of things that can help you out if you make mistakes, then you become, in my opinion, a worse videographer or sound person. Because even with like, let's say the first thing you buy is a sound mixer that can record 32-bit float.
Right.
You're gonna be like, oh, I don't gotta set up any audio. I just put it there, and then no matter what, the audio is gonna be sound great. But then you don't understand the little small things that will make the audio sound perfect.
Right. Mic placement. Like, yeah, you can have 32-bit float, and all right, cool. So you can't clip or whatever, be too quiet. But if your mic is over here, the person's talking this way. Doesn't matter how much you pump the gain on this. The voice is here and the mic missed it.
Yep.
So, I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, yeah, you can have the gear, but you also have to know to use it. So as a beginner especially, start within your means. It's like, it's a fine balance, because you don't want to go too cheap, because then you're like kind of wasting money, because, like you could sell it, but you're going to sell it at a loss, or it's like just things you can't use anymore. But if you buy the right type of gear, even though it may not be your mainstay, they can make great backups or anything else. Like, or you can rent it out to other people too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't use this small little kit anymore, but you can definitely use it, and I'll put it at a reduced price. We're homies. Like, there you go. And I have my bigger mixer for other stuff, and now this one can go out and do other things. Yeah. Or like I said, now my Mix Pre 3 just serves as an interface for my computer, and that's how I do all of my editing now. And that thing is a workhorse. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I got a Zoom H4n. I believe. I don't think it has that capability. But yeah, starting within your means, learning how to use it, and I think you can get away with a pretty decent setup at around 2Gs, 2,500 maybe.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah.
I did want to also finish one more thought that you mentioned earlier. So as far as like social media presence and marketing yourself, because like, yeah, I try to have a good personality, and like, thank you so much for telling me that too, because sometimes I question like, am I even nice to work with? But it's like faking it till you're making it, being super loud. But like, literally what I physically do whenever I try to promote myself is a lot of little things, not hard stuff, just small things that I enjoy, that I think is interesting, or just super fast and not heavy. Like, I don't spend a lot of time trying to market myself. I'm not like, what do I do today to make myself look? No. I'm more like, what am I doing today? Okay, cool, we're on a set. Bet. Any photos I take will look good because we're on set. So I'll try to take a picture of my gear, just my setup. I also try to take a picture of my work. Like, if I do an interesting rig where there's like a project I did last week, we had to mic up this little girl, and I'm not trying to put on mic here. So, but she had a lot of hair. So I did a theater miking technique, and I put her mic over her ear, hit it here under her hair, taped it without trying to get like too much of her hair in it. And it worked. Like, they didn't see it. She moved around. It didn't fall off. Well, it fell off a couple times, but it didn't completely fall off. It was a quick fix, and it sounded great. And, like, no clothes rustling. So I took a picture of that. Like, hey, this is what we did this time, or what I did this time. Yeah. And then another one where I was working on this, like, YouTube project, and I put a mic through this guy's tie. I'm like, well, I took a picture of that. And there was other time where we cut a shirt in a hole, cut a hole in the guy's shirt. And I took a picture of that. Just like, here's all these interesting, weird ways I'm finding out that I find are interesting. And maybe someone else will find this interesting, if not helpful, for what they do. There's this girl who had a cardigan. It was super loose in it. So I was able to just string her mic through her jacket because it was just open enough. Take a photo of that. If I'm not on a set and I have nothing going on today, what do I post, you know? Post. Like, that's where I'm trying to also find my facets in now, where it's like, okay, I can't always be on set, especially with the strikes happening or whatever. The work can be slow. Work does get very slow for me a lot of times. But people will still be like, dude, you are so busy. Like, you must be busy all the time. You must be rolling. No, I'm not. I make it look like that because maybe I'm still posting things from a job I worked with last month. Yeah. And I'm just sharing different photos or whatever. But with post audio now, that's also how I'm trying to keep myself busy, because if I'm not on a set, I still have to be learning something. And I don't want to learn a non-audio skill. I want to still go in on all audio. And the cool thing is that it's so broad.
That's what my next question's about.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No way. It is. But if you have more, keep going. I want to hear the...
There's just so much to know about it. So, you know, if it's like setting up audio for podcasts or editing or whatever, I'm trying to learn that. So I'll post things up like that. Like, today I'm learning X and Y. Or most recently, I've been using this amazing program called Reaper. I love it. It's a great dog. It's free. And it's so powerful, dude. I was able to edit numerous films audio-wise with it. And I am now working on a Star Wars fan film, so it's super heavily involved. I mean, we've got all the swings, clashes, and everything, and it's just syncing it to each swing, like having to go back and forth between all of that. How do I make that look interesting when I'm promoting myself? I don't know. I'll just try something. Here's a picture of my timeline. Here's some weird effects, because I love trippy effects, so maybe that'll be interesting, just to show that I'm working on something.
Yeah.
And the process isn't always interesting. When you're practicing, you suck, and it's not fun to watch. But I like to show little glimpses of it, like, here's me practicing. I'm not good at it yet. But that should also be encouraging to other people too. Yeah. Learn your craft, make mistakes. What did Miss Frizzle teach us? Yeah. Right? Get messy, make mistakes. Like, I love Magic School Bus for telling us that reason. Or Bob Ross, like, you make happy little mistakes. Yeah. Keep learning your craft, post it up, and just be super loud and vocal, and people will notice it.
My question was actually about what you were saying earlier, how you want to dive into more post-production audio and how there's other things that, you know, you might be able to learn and transfer skills that you currently have into other areas and fields. And I only took one like main like sound class in my life, and it was not a good experience. I was telling him about it yesterday, but it was just live production. It didn't have to do with filmmaking or sets or anything like that. It was more like live, like I don't even know, concerts maybe, shows, music like that. Right. But what it did teach me, other than very specific things, it showed me or brought to me a passion for audio and an understanding for audio and for different layers and many things like that, like even mixing and how all of that works in the post-production. And I love house music. I love EDM like you do as well. So I started to DJ, and I got my controller, and I got a bigger one, and I'm getting my third one, and I sold the other ones in Brazil because you just sell that for like twice as much, so it's worth it. And I'm about to get my third one, and I just love it. I like doing it. I don't produce my own stuff, but I can mix and all of that, and I just think it's so much fun. So I was thinking, you like EDM, you're going to DC, we're going to DC all 3 days, right? You love audio, you're doing post-production audio. Have you ever thought about being McFly, the DJ?
Yes, 100% yes. Like, dude.
He's like, I'm actually performing EDC.
Actually, tonight at the Vanguard,
Yeah.
I'm opening for Steve Aoki.
No, dude, 100% though. Like, me and my cousin were talking about this recently. Like, that's something we want to start looking into. And me already being a mixer, it'd be great to be a different mixer, you know, and literally be in every kind of facet of audio. Like, cool, yeah, I can do field audio. Yeah, I can do post. Yeah, we can do live concerts and events. But can you mix for a stage and a giant crowd and like get them hyped up? Now that I would love to experience.
Totally. And yeah, I'm so different.
It's a
So-
storytelling too. When you create a set, you have to be thinking, how do we start? They're not gonna be hyped up right in the beginning, or maybe they are. Maybe they showed up because they're so excited, so you just boom right away.
Have you seen the movie We Are Your Friends with Zac Efron?
No.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
It's Zac Efron. He's a producer,
Okay.
and then it's him just like getting better. But like he hears every little thing. So like shower on, and then he like records it with his like mic.
Oh, no
and then like someone like doing this, and then like he records it, and then he just adds more like small little like all of his produced music is just
Sound.
things, just random sounds. He just goes and just records, and bro, it's such a good movie.
It's a really good movie. Yeah. For everyone that likes,
We Are Your Friends.
for us like that love EDM and love like festivals and all of that, it's really good.
And there's a scene where he goes into it where he's like, I don't know if he's talking to somebody or if he's doing it and he's saying it like talking in the movie. But he's like, all right, we start off slow. You start raising the heartbeats, and then like you start seeing the people's hearts in the frame.
Yeah, the BPM going.
And
up.
it's like right when it's about to go, like boom, now here you drop it, and then boom, and you just see dun dun. It's really good.
And everyone goes with it. It's nice, man.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's
And
driving
it's what
the audience.
happens.
Driving the audience through it. It's just like a film. When you're directing a film, I don't think it's that different from when you're.
I always love to whoever person I talk to when they do something creatively, I would like to roll it back to like that's a way of you telling a story.
Yeah.
Sound, music is a way of telling a story. When we're talking to Sean, comedy is a way of telling a story. Filmmaking, documentary work, and interviews, they're all telling stories, and there's so many other ways in this world of telling stories.
This
It's just-
podcast is one of
like,
them.
yeah, we're telling a story right now.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's wild how many small little things you can do.
Yeah.
And it rolls back into, being creative and you just expressing yourself and making someone feel a certain way.
If I can just get really deep and like level with y'all, like I think there is so much spirituality in creativity. Like I think God put us here on this planet to create. I think He was the best ultimate creator, and I feel like that's in all of us. And even though, I doubt myself a lot. Like I'm a different kind of artist. I'm not like a visual artist. I don't know how to draw or paint, and I struggled with a lot as a kid. I was like, why am I not good at anything? But artistry just exists in any form, dude. Even if you're like an engineer, like there is just art to you creating something that can be a building someday, that can hold that structure and fit all these things. So no matter what it is, you can be creative in it. I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But like going back into DJing, dude, like, yeah, you can tell a story with music. And I love that quote of like, was it art, like visual art is how you decorate a space, and then music is how you decorate time. Like I love that DJs really can just direct a whole crowd of people. And like it's so mind-blowing to me because I think of the biggest concerts ever. It's a whole sea of hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even more, and no one knows each other. They don't know each other's names. We're here for one purpose though. We all really, really enjoy this music. And this one DJ can get everybody together and get so hyped on the same visceral, primal level. Like, have you ever heard a beat drop that just, your body physically reacts to it without you even thinking about it?
Yeah.
I've heard so many sick drops where I'm just like doing something. Yeah, I make the bass face, you know, like
You're on the same wavelength,
Yeah.
literally, as everyone else. When like you can be
Yeah.
a different age, you came from a different place, you don't know, you're not speaking the same language, you're from a completely different background. But when you're there in that moment and you're listening, you're on the same vibe, and it can be something more chill. It can be
Yeah.
that faces.
Yeah.
For me, why is that? Because like every single time I hear something, like I feel like I hear that, and like it's like the heart of just like going.
Yeah.
So like
Exactly.
when you're like at a huge like EDC or like a big festival, when you're playing that music, everyone's in the same rhythm, because that's where the beat drops, and then that's where your heart goes, like just sinks. Everything just starts sinking, and it's wild how the human body works.
have you ever just turned around and saw the crowd?
I usually stay like that, and I was reading an article about that, and I didn't know. My friend, actually Diane, sent it to me, that in the beginning DJs would be hiding, like they wouldn't be shown, like they wouldn't be in the main stage like they are now. In the beginning of house music, when it first started, the DJ was very chill. He was always in the corner, same level as everyone else. And with time, the DJ became this artist that's in the middle of everybody. So when house music was first invented, people would just look around at each other. And I've personally always done that. Like you look at me in concerts, I'm always facing everyone else, and I'm because I want to get that energy. And it was just funny for me to read that. That's actually intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool to do that. Like half the concert, just like you're looking at everyone else.
Yes, and I love it where, again, you just meet some random stranger, no words exchanged, but like, you know he's on a different planet right now, and he's just cooking, and you just go in and start squirting whatever, like, you just jump in and do some random stuff.
There's one thing that's gonna blow our minds, and then we're done with festivals. But I read an article because I was doing a research for anthropology, and I have this inside of me that always tell me that music is the only way to unite people in like a peaceful setting. And I know that there's a lot of stories, including Woodstock in '99, where things were really wrong, and people had a really hard time, being just in those events. But I feel like when the music plays, we are able to connect in the same spiritual level. And so I was digging more in that thing, and I got into this article called the Techno Shaman. So the shaman is always they call the healer, the spiritual person that, in all societies or even indigenous, they're like the most powerful and can, control people's energies. So this person was kind of comparing the DJ to a shaman, and then they call it a techno shaman, because like every time they will raise these frequencies were meant to be, and some of them were for healing purposes and things like that. The message they put out there, sometimes they're like very encouraging, or maybe recalling where you are, or maybe just evoking some sort of emotion. So I was like, that is so cool. And it actually, I can say I agree totally with what the articles say, because it's so weird to see all the people that in another setting, it's so hard to control people, and to put everyone to sit and listen is one of those things that music can do, but a person cannot. Like with a microphone, yeah, at some point you can get their attention, but you have so much. But you blast the music and everybody's zone out, and that's powerful. Like I love music in that aspect. It's kind of like top thing.
Because, yeah, you don't even have to know the DJ a lot of the times.
Yeah,
like my first
exactly.
EDC, I didn't know any of the artists, and I had a blast because of the people, because of the music, and the environment. And, like, going back to, like, watching the crowds, I was just feeding off that energy. And, like, I think it's so interesting that it's EDM. Like, it's not the most complicated music out there. I mean, it can be. Like, there's some really cool stuff that people do, but it's not, like, classical music or something where, I don't know, there's a lot of classical skills involved. I mean, it's noises, it's beats, it's all these things, not to take away from its power, but what I mean is it's so interesting that for someone that might think EDM is just very surface level, it's just, junk food for the brain or whatever. It's just like whatever kind of music. But No, dude, like it can have such an emotional impact. Like I was reading on TikTok's comments, like someone asked like what songs make you cry? Like when you hear it in live, what just makes you burst into tears? And like their song was San Holo's Light.
I was about to say that, yeah, and I'm looking forward to that, like literally in a couple weekends. That song gets me, dude.
Well, I have the prompt question now, which is gonna be fun. If you were going to to a music festival, who you like, a character of could be history, famous, Hollywood, whoever. Who will you go out and spend 3 days in a row in a festival with? You can pick celebrities.
It's the same artist though for 3 days.
No. You're bringing
No.
someone with you
With
to go
you
to
to-
it. It can be a character or a. I like
Yeah.
that.
Who you would, okay.
Do you pick the festival too, or is it?
Yeah, I'd say EDC because it's coming.
So I have to go
I'll
to
say you can't even think of
I mean-
going out on a Friday for a nice party. Yeah.
For 3 days or 1 day?
Come on, bro! It's a music festival. EDC. Who do you take?
If it's not
Who do you
EDC,
take?
I'm
EDC.
bringing Marilyn Monroe to EDC with me.
Wow. Okay. Why?
I mean, I want to see her with the dreads and all that and the music. No, I think it would be amazing. She would come from a different time. I cannot even picture her in color because every picture I see of her is like black and white. It would just be like mind blowing for everyone there. She's iconic. Everyone would be like, what? Yeah, it would just be insane. It's someone from a different time, and it would be a lot of fun. And I don't know how she would dance to electronic music.
I know,
It would be the
right?
perfect person to bring to EDC.
How about you?
I could probably like lean it back to like musicians too. Like maybe like George Harrison. I just love the way that he would like construct some of the songs, like some of the history of like how he would do some of his songs, even though a lot of them he didn't like write, and like the Beatles. But like when he did his own, it's like damn, like you just live life and then boom, like a song would just come out. Like, did you guys ever hear like the story of how he made Here Comes the Sun? No. I think he was like, there was a bunch of shit going on in his life, and it was like his worst year ever, and he just went, and then like he was so depressed, and he went with like his other guitar friend, and he was like walking around this house, and then he just saw like the garden, and he just like boom, he just wrote the song right there. Just instantly, he just started singing about like, oh, the sun's gonna come up eventually, like, and it's like damn, that's such a powerful way of like you're in a shittiest situation, and then you write something that like
Wait, whose song is?
George Harrison or like the Beatles.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's George Harrison, right? Yeah. George Harrison? Just double check. Okay, George Harrison. And it's like, damn, it's like, boom, like you're there, and then you just make an instant hit.
Yeah.
Just by and it's just pure emotion of like, damn, you're in that situation. Oh my God. So I'd love to be there, and like at a festival, just him just being there, just to see what he would just create. He would just be there.
I think Harrison would be the best Paul to go with because he was also super free soul and super hippie. So he'll be the guy looking at the people dancing and just being
He's
like,
the fourth one, right? Because he's the one I don't know. Because I know Paul McCartney. I know the one that got shot in New York. John Lennon.
Ringo is the
Ringo
drummer.
Starr, and then him. He's
And-
the one I didn't know. Who would you take to EDC with you, though? From any person in any time in history?
Anytime.
You guys are gonna be disappointed.
Why? No.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's just such a cool.
It would be fun. It would be fun.
You would vibe for 3 days straight with Paul
Yeah,
Rudd.
it would be a good time.
Wait, old Paul Rudd now or like young Paul Rudd?
Oh, good.
That's
point.
hard.
A little younger.
Yeah, you're gonna need the energy levels.
Yeah.
With all that. Yeah. But
like-
Paul Rudd has stood the test of time. I think he's just a solid dude.
I think he's finally like you're slowly saying like okay now he's looking a little old in his old age. I was like wait you're not but like he's I don't know how he does it like he just looks yeah
Yeah, this is a positive person, and he's like the right kind of awkward.
yeah
Just a little bit, yeah, that's enough. Who'd you bring, Val? It can't be the same as Emmanuel.
No. I would. And now that if I overthink it, probably I wouldn't. But I think I would take.
Nicolás Maduro.
No. You didn't
Get
say
rid
that.
of him in there.
Got this. Cancel. No, I will take Jim Morrison. But I know that he was very troublemaker, so he probably will get drunk and lost and all that. But I think just for his way to be so wild in rock and roll, I cannot imagine a character like that in rave settings. I think it would be out of, and of course, super sexy, I'll definitely go with him.
We're on the sexy side. You see what we're bringing, right? Come on, Marilyn Monroe's not fun. I don't know how they would react at EDC. Like someone like Jim Morrison, I feel like he'd just be pissed. What kind of music is this?
$14 for beer. What the?
Right? The inflation? Oh my God. He'd be like, what kind of beer is this? For a year's worth of beer. No, it's a one can.
And the EDC prices, bro.
Whoa.
Bought beer for like $3. It's like $15. Yeah.
2 cents when he bought it. Do you have like final things you want to say?
Finish your final things. Tag yourself. Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah, sure. Be excellent to one another, man. Like, help each other out, teach each other things, be coachable, love one another, be humble and be grateful. And don't be afraid to apologize. If you make a mistake, when you make a mistake, just apologize for it, own up to it, try to make it right. And I think you can't go wrong with those things. You know, if it's a work environment, if it's a personal environment, if you are a solid person who's trying to do their best, and when you mess up, you just get back up, dust yourself off, get back into it, and lift each other up. I don't see, like, obviously not everything in your life will be perfect, far from it, but you cannot go wrong with those things. It's super tempting when things go wrong to just give up and stop or whatever, just, you know, let yourself devolve and become some worse version of yourself, but don't let it get there. Just keep trying, keep getting up. Take a break if you need to. Put it down for a while. Try something else. Get distracted with a different skill or move or your friends, but then pick it back up.
I want to say something that like literally just hit me as you were saying this, and it's just personal. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I listen to Joe Rogan, and for instance, right, he's one of the guys that says, you know, I started this just to go deeper into conversations with people that I wanted to just know more about them, right? We've worked together a few times, and just even though I am a person that lets like my personal side out, and I also, you know, we vibe and we talk about a lot of stuff, getting to this level of conversation, having like over an hour long of just hearing all these personal things and these business things as well, but just knowing more about you, it's incredible how deep each person is. And sometimes you just encounter them from a second and you never see them again, or if you do, you just keep it on the surface level. I think doing this, I don't know, it just hit me how cool this is, how important it is. Having Marty here, dude. I would, yeah. Woo. I mean, the moment like we start talking and I'm like, we're going deeper into this, and like right now you're saying all this message, how cool this is that we're doing this. And I just wish people, regardless of having a podcast or not, could have those deeper and meaningful conversations. Because humans, like, there's just so much more in common between us than we think. Mm-hmm. And there's just so much depth between, you know, each little thing that happens to each one of us. There's a lot of things that are similar and lessons to be learned from that, you know. So let's not keep things on the surface level when we can, at least. Yep. You know.
I love that.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Yeah. Well, before we exit, tag yourself.
I am McFly_the_sound_guy.wave.
I love it.
And cut.